so we got the Yaesu FT8 here, and we got the ICOM IC17 underneath it. Both these radios can do FT8, and other radios can do FT8. But for my FT8, I actually use my Yaesu 897 because that is actually full band, all mode. Does HF, VHF, UHF, all mode. So, and to hook up FT8 to your computer and to your radio so it all communicates right, you do need a Digi rig. There's one right there for the Yaesu, and what that does, it actually lets the computer communicate through the radio to another computer somewhere in the world. And with FT8, it uses weak signal communication because nowadays with all the technology and everything, there's a lot of interference and everything, and it's really hard to make communication sometimes. So when there's a lot of noise, a lot of interference and everything, you can use FT8, and the computer will actually decode the messages and everything and not take in the actual interference and stuff. And then I have both radios hooked up to the tuners here. My ICOM is hooked up to this one. This one does the CB bands. And then this one here is an automatic antenna tuner that I have hooked up to the Yaesu. It's also off of battery power, so it can go anywhere. But the reason I got the two tuners is because I am in an apartment, so I can't have multiple antennas up. So for each radio I do use, not at the same time, of course, I do have to use a tuner because I do have one antenna. And then this is my Cobra 135 XLR that I have video on that I did boost the power on. So let's go ahead and turn the Yaesu on and see if FT8 is going on. Now FT8 is on the low side of the 10 meter band. So to be able to actually use FT8 with a program called WSJTX, you have to have at least a minimum of a technician license. If you do not have a ham radio license, you cannot go on FT8. So since I am a ham radio technician, my call sign is KJ5GHX, we can do 28.074. That's actually the digital mode. And if your radio doesn't do digital, you can also use, I believe it's upper sideband. So the noise that you're about to hear is actually the communication between the two computers. Well, technically a whole bunch of computers at once, because FT8 actually transmits and receives alternately every 15 seconds. So 15 seconds it will transmit, 15 seconds it will receive. The closest thing I could say what this noise is if you're kind of the old generation, kind of in your 30s or 40s, maybe late 20s, or if you just know what the sound of 56K dial-up modem used to be like. Because 56K dial-up was basically your computer talking through a modem to another computer to make sure it's okay to connect to the internet. And then that computer at the internet service provider sends another computerized signal back to the modem and to your computer to tell it it's okay to connect to the internet. So basically the modem is basically the radio. This acts as the modem, gives it a little gateway or a bridge for the two computers to actually connect and talk to each other. So let's listen to the computers basically. So this is the sound of computers actually communicating and talking to each other, and what they're doing is they're calling each other's call signs, they're giving them signal reports, and then they are also giving them where they're actually located, which is called a grid square location, because it's just the bare minimum of what you need for an actual QSO contact, which is basically the call sign, the location, which is the grid square, and the signal report, and then saying goodbye, which is 73. So right here it's in a transmitting stage. Now it's listening. And you can kind of hear another little buzz back there. So that's basically FT8. That's all FT8 is. You use a program which is called WSJTX that actually decodes all that noise and decodes it into actual letters where you can make contacts. So next I'll go ahead and get on FT8, because since we're actually having some band openings, let's go ahead and get some contacts. Alright, so now we got everything on the radio going. You have all the Digi rig, you got the cable hooked up and everything. Next thing you need to do is you need to change your sound output and your sound input. Well, your mic input. So what you need to do is you need to go over here to your sound bar, and you're going to right click and go to sound settings. And you need to make sure that you change it to your USB audio device or whatever pops up in your device manager for whenever you plug it in. And you're going to change that in the actual system or the program, WSJTX. Your output is going to be how the computer actually communicates to other computers around the world. It's going to connect and talk through your radio. And to do that, you need to have your output set in accordingly. For the computer to hear the receive signals from all the other computers around the world, you're going to have that set up for your mic input. Now, after you have that mic input set up and your output set up, you're going to go ahead and close that, and you're going to open up WSJTX, and then you're going to open up Grid Tracker. Grid Tracker works with WSJTX, and it helps it log all your stuff, give a map of where you've actually contacted, so you can keep track of where you're contacting and who you're contacting to and all that jazz. And it does it automatically. I'll have a link down below for WSJTX, and I'll have a link for Grid Tracker 2, because if you're currently using Grid Tracker 1, for some odd reason it's not going to work. You can still use WSJTX, but it will not communicate with Grid Tracker 1, or at least I couldn't get it to work. I had to get Grid Tracker 2 to get it to work. So I'll have those links down below. I have a BAT file for mine because I got tired of opening both programs at once, because once you open them, they kind of remember where it's at on the screen. So we're going to go ahead and open up the BAT file I have here, and it's going to open up both programs for me automatically. So this one here is the WSJTX. This is what the radio is actually receiving. So we're just going to move this guy on the side because we don't need that right now. So we're just going to move that over. So this is the WJTS here. We're going to make sure that my settings are correct here. Go to radio, we're in COM3. See, my input is microphone, that's good, and speakers is good. So under audio, your input, you're going to make sure is your microphone, USB audio device, and your output is your speakers. And then the radio here, you're going to pick which radio you have. If you're using the Digi rig, you do need the cat here, and then you're going to do a data packet, and we're going to fake the split operation. If you're using the Digi rig with the Yaesu, I figured out the most easiest way to get it to work is for the handshake, you're going to do a none, and for data bits and stop bits, you're going to do default and default. And then first things first, you're going to go ahead and hit that test cat button. When it's green, it's good to go. You're going to hit test PTT, and you're going to look at the actual radio. Mine, I look for a red light that pops on. I got the red light. We're going to go ahead and turn that off. So that means it's communicating good with the actual radio. The program is WSJTX. Now we're going to go ahead and turn on my tuner. And I already have that set up, and I'll have a video on that later. So now we're already all set up. So this here's the band activity. This is all the activity on the band right now. And I'll go ahead and let you listen to it. This is the actual sound of it. So those are all the computers talking with the other computers. The easiest way I can actually, like I said, explain it is the 56K dial-up modem noise. That's how they're actually communicating. So this here on Grid Tracker is the map of everywhere that I've actually contacted. These are all the grid squares around the world that I've actually contacted, all these yellow ones. And this one I'm so happy about, got Fiji and Japan. And then here is the call roster. So this is everyone that's actually calling out. This is why I like Grid Tracker. Very easily, very quickly, you can see what's going on. You can see who's calling CQ, you can see who's talking to who, you can see the grid squares, where they're located, United States, Canada, we got a Cuba, we got a Puerto Rico, and then what state they're from. Got Arizona and Alabama. They got their decibel signal strength and how old it is. So about 56 seconds ago, this call sign message was received. So this here is your log. Automatically updates with WSJTX, and that's what you get here. Now, every time you transmit and receive, this will go. So first things first, we're gonna go for someone that we don't have. See how all of these are not solid, just like this Arizona? All the kind of hollow ones are the ones that you've already contacted. The yellow hollows are the not grid squares, the actual call signs of people that you've actually contacted. The call signs will be blank of who you have not talked to. The grid square, the location, those will actually be a solid color. So these grid squares I have not talked to before, but I have talked to the country. And then vice versa here, I have talked to the country, but I have not talked to Arizona or New Hampshire. But New Hampshire is calling. Nope, that wasn't New Hampshire. So what we're going to do is we're just going to let it go real quick, and we're going to let this listen in, and we're going to see if we can get something that we haven't had contact with before, like a grid square, but they're not calling CQ. I want something that they're calling CQ, we could get in contact with. So while we're waiting for that, the next thing you need to do is when you're calling CQ, I want this program to automatically pounce on that. I want it to act on it. I want it to automatically stop transmitting CQ and go straight to the first message of getting the signal report and everything. I want it to automatically do that. And then when it's done with the contact and everything, I want it to automatically start going for that CQ again. So right off the bat, we're going to go ahead, we're going to go to auto CQ, and we're going to go to halt TX because I don't want to transmit right now. And then we're going to go ahead and hit pounce. And just as expected, when I hit pounce, the auto CQ goes away. So we're going to hit that again, and then we're going to go ahead and halt TX. And if anybody did hear my little blip of transmitting, we'll probably end up getting a call here. When someone calls us, I'll have a video a little bit later on Grid Tracker. It will pop up right here and will tell us someone is actually calling us, and you can see it here in this call box. So let's see, New Hampshire still talking to someone. CQ, we haven't got that grid square, so let's go ahead and call them out. So we gotta wait for the other 15 seconds. So this is a 15 seconds, it's gonna listen in and it's gonna decode. So it's receiving, then this is gonna go to blue and go to decode. Once it goes to decode, it actually pops up in the screens. So now we're transmitting. This is our 15 seconds to transmit. So right now we're transmitting on 28.73 at 1.09 SWRs. And let's see if he can hear us and gets back to us. If he gets back to us, we'll have a pop-up here with his call sign. Oh, see, there you go. See that pop up right there? That's who we're trying to call, and he is calling us right now. There's the our call sign there, and we're talking to Grid Square Echo November 6-2, which is in Michigan. So we have Michigan because it is hollowed out, but the Grid Square we have not talked to in Michigan. So basically the Grid Square is like the city. So this is a city that we have not talked to, but we have talked to someone in that state. And we're just waiting in. And as you can see here, I forgot to mention this line right here is designating his radio is trying to contact to us. And we already had his contact. We made his contact. So we're going to halt TX. And we got his contact right here. So now what we're going to do is we're going to bring the waveform back up, because I don't like seeing it all the time.
And what we're gonna look for is an open spot, unless someone calls us. If someone calls us, it's gonna automatically pounce on it. So right here, this green line is where we moved the window here. And all these are all the signals here. So it looks like we got an open spot right here where we did get contact with Michigan. So we got some close contact there and there. Some close stuff over here. Got a guy right here. Let's go ahead and real quick squeeze in right here. And we're gonna double click there. Then we're gonna move this screen out of the window here. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and enable TX. And it's gonna jump in, it's gonna start calling CQ. You can see the TX message right here that you're transmitting. And it's gonna start calling out. And when somebody hears it, oh, here we go. We got St. Vincent here. We're going to go ahead and call this guy right now. We're going to go ahead and jump on that St. Vincent. I don't care about if anyone calls us. So we're transmitting to St. Vincent right now. So this is our signal going from our radio over to St. Vincent. And if we get him, we'll see a line coming back talking to us. And then we'll see a pop-up up here. So hopefully we can hear St. Vincent in this next 15 seconds. Let's give it a shot. Come on. And it looks like someone beat us to the punch to St. Vincent. But we're going to still keep going for St. Vincent. This is another country that we don't have. I would love to get a new country right there. So I usually try to transmit probably 2 or 3 times to one location to see if we can actually get them. So we got Missouri right here too. But I'm going to transmit one more time to St. Vincent here. And then I'm going to go back to where we were before. And we're going to call CQ. Let's see if we hear anything. See, he's already talking to someone else now, so he probably doesn't even hear us. So let's go ahead and call. We already got that grid square. Let's just call CQ. Oh, I can use the scroll wheel here. Sweet. So we're at 943. I'm gonna go up 943 there. We're gonna go up 943 here. And then we're gonna double click here and we're gonna start calling CQ. And we're gonna see if we can get someone to come back to us. So we're calling out to everybody right now. Who can hear us? And FT8, if it's not real busy, it's going to be kind of boring. That's why I like Auto CQ. You can usually set it up whenever, you know, you're at the beach, throw on Auto CQ and pounce. And then you can start calling CQ and you can start fishing off the beach, play catch with your kid or something. Or just lay back and read a book or something. Then every now and then glance over, see how many contacts you have, move around some frequencies. And I just noticed we're a tad bit off frequency, so we're just gonna go down one. And you always want to keep an eye out on your roster. See, he's still talking to other people. France is starting to come. It is the one I want right here. I don't have his call sign, so I never talked to him. So let's just go ahead and we'll try to get his contact. Let's go ahead and call him real quick. And he just picked someone else up. Alright, we're still trying to call him, so we can end up getting him after his. Alright, who's calling us? You got two people. Let's see, first one is OBP. So let's go OBP right here. So we're at step number 2. That was the pop-up right there. And we got this guy calling right now. So with the pounce, after I get the contact with this guy, as long as this guy is still calling, it will automatically jump into that contact. So we're gonna go for him first, and it's gonna jump over. We still got this guy calling because we got his pop-up and then his pop-up. Now you need your steps to go down here to 5 to actually make it into the call log here. Alright, so since this guy's ain't listening in, let's just go ahead and go over to this guy, see if he's automatically called us like twice before. This other guy hasn't done anything. So this guy's being active. So let's go ahead and him go get his contact real fast, since he's being proactive and wanting to get something. Alright, so we can go ahead and transmit our message out. Alright, he's coming back. We're on step number 4. Once it goes to 5, it will go ahead and pop it up in the logbook right here. We're transmitting our signal report to him right now. And then he's going to transmit the signal report to us as we receive it. And then it's going to pop it into the call log. There you go. He said 73. That's saying goodbye. And there he is right there in the call log. And see, the other guy's gone. We don't have this square in Texas. The new grid square in Texas. Let's go ahead and knock that guy out right there. Everybody talking to this one guy. Golly. Alright, I'll hold TX. And we're gonna go for this CQ right here. See if he can get us. We've had him before. That's why it's flashing. There's the contact. We're at step number 3 very quickly. And if we can finish quick enough, we could get chilly right here with another grid square. Alright, he's in the log. We're gonna halt TX. We're gonna get this chili real fast. Get our name out there as quick as possible so he can hear us before it taps out on the next 15 seconds. Because if not, we're gonna have to wait the next 15 seconds to actually transmit while other people are transmitting. So, see if it pays off. So we're transmitting back to Brazil right now. I mean, not Brazil, Chile. He's still calling CQ. Hopefully he can hear us. Nope, he gone. You know, halt TX, and then right down here is actual your contacts. Got 3 of them new today, and then we got 146 total. And this is your last TX message, and then your mode. All right, who else is calling CQ? Go ahead and call this guy. And then in grid tracker, see how this is blue still? That means I have not contacted this guy. There's not a lot of DX places actually coming into play. I usually try to go for 10 contacts, but I think today is we're probably gonna end up maxing out at 3. Alright, so we got that one. We got a new grid square there. Alright. So we'll get 4 there. Where could we possibly hit after that? Everybody is calling this 9 Charlie 5 Alpha Foxtrot. And I don't have a 9 Charlie 5 in my section here at all.